Here's something nobody talks about. You can go an entire day surrounded by people, coworkers, family, strangers in line, and still feel completely unseen. Not lonely in the dramatic sense, just quietly disconnected. Like everyone is present, but nobody is really there. And the weird part? That feeling is becoming more common, not less, even as we become more connected than any generation in human history. So what's actually going on? Because I don't think this is just about phones, or social media, or some vague cultural decline people love to complain about at dinner tables. I think something deeper is shifting. Something in the structure of how we relate to each other. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Today, we're talking about the quiet death of small talk and what's replacing it, or failing to. Section 1. What small talk actually was. Let's start by giving small talk some credit it never gets. How was your weekend? Crazy weather lately, right? Did you catch the game? We treat these exchanges like filler. Noise between the real stuff. But anthropologists and psychologists have studied this for decades, and small talk was never really about the weather. It was a ritual, a social handshake, a way of signaling, I see you. You're safe. We're on the same team. Think about tribal communities, or even just small towns a generation ago. You'd see the same people repeatedly. The butcher, the neighbor 2 doors down, the person who takes the same bus. Small talk was how you maintained a loose web of social warmth with dozens of people simultaneously, without requiring deep emotional investment in every single one. Psychologists call this weak ties, and research consistently shows that weak ties, those casual, low-stakes connections, are massively underrated for human well-being. They buffer loneliness. They create the ambient sense that you belong somewhere, that the world is friendly. But here's where things get interesting. Weak ties depend on repetition, on running into the same people, on physical proximity creating accidental connection. And somewhere in the last 15 years, that infrastructure quietly disappeared. Section 2, the infrastructure collapse. It happened slowly, then all at once. Remote work removed the water cooler. Online shopping closed the shops where you'd chat with the owner. Streaming services killed the shared cultural moments, the TV episode everyone watched, the song everyone heard. Even neighborhoods changed. People drive in, garage door down, and they're gone. We didn't just lose the places where small talk happened, we lost the reason to show up to those places. And when we did show up when we were in public, we had a device in our pocket that could pull our attention away from the awkward silence in the elevator and into something more comfortable, more stimulating, more controllable. Here's the thing about that phone in your pocket. It didn't just distract you, it trained you. It rewired your tolerance for unstructured social ambiguity. That moment where you don't know what to say, your brain used to just sit with it, push through. Now, within 2 seconds of discomfort, there's an escape hatch, and you take it. Every time. Over years, this erodes something subtle but significant, the muscle for low-stakes human interaction. The ability to be comfortable with a stranger in a shared space without needing that interaction to go anywhere. Which means when small talk does happen, it feels more effortful than it used to. Weirder. And that weirdness makes people avoid it more, which makes the muscle weaker, which makes it weirder. It's a loop, and most of us are deep inside it without realizing. Section 3. The depth trap. Now, you might think, okay, but who needs small talk? Let's just have deeper conversations. And honestly, that's what a lot of people think. There's a whole cultural narrative right now that says, skip the surface stuff, go straight to real talk. Vulnerability, authenticity, meaningful connection. On paper, beautiful idea. In practice, it's created a weird new problem. Because meaningful depth requires a container. It requires trust built over time, or at least a shared context or reason you're in each other's lives. You can't walk up to someone at a grocery store and say, "What are you most afraid of?" That's not depth. That's just alarming. Small talk was the on-ramp to depth. It's how you screened for safety, how you established rhythm, how you both silently agreed. I'm willing to invest a little here. Without the on-ramp, people are stuck choosing between two awkward extremes. Performative surface talk, the kind that feels hollow because you both know it's hollow. Or forced depth, the kind that feels intrusive because you haven't earned it yet. And online, this gets even more distorted. Social media rewards the performance of depth. The vulnerable post, the raw confession, the carefully worded tweet about your inner life. But these aren't conversations, they're broadcasts. You're not connecting with one person, you're signaling to hundreds. And over time, the emotional vocabulary of genuine intimacy gets borrowed for something that doesn't actually build intimacy at all. You feel like you're being real, but you're talking at people, not with them. Section 4. The loneliness paradox. Here's where the hidden system becomes visible. We live in an era of unprecedented access to other humans. You can talk to someone in Tokyo at midnight. You can video call your college friend in another country while making breakfast. You can be in 10 conversations simultaneously. And yet loneliness rates have been climbing steadily for decades. The US Surgeon General declared it a public health epidemic. Studies show that a growing percentage of adults say they have no close friends, a number that has roughly tripled since the 1990s. How does that make sense? More connection, more loneliness? Because connection isn't a quantity problem, it's a quality problem. And quality requires something that modern life is systematically designed to avoid: friction. Friction is waiting. Friction is silence. Friction is showing up even when it's inconvenient. Friction is the boring Tuesday hang that doesn't make a good Instagram story, but somehow ends up being the moment you remember 5 years later. Every convenience we've built, delivery apps, remote work, instant messaging, was designed to reduce friction. And it did. But in reducing the friction, we also reduce the texture of relationships, the rough edges where real bonding happens. We optimize for ease, and ease, it turns out, is lonely. Section 5. What's actually replacing connection? So what are people doing instead? Because the need doesn't disappear just because the infrastructure changed. Some people have turned to parasocial relationships, the one-sided bonds you form with creators, podcasters, streamers, characters in shows. Psychologists used to treat these as a symptom of social dysfunction, but the data is more complicated. For genuinely isolated people, parasocial connection isn't just a consolation prize. It actively reduces loneliness, models social skills, and can serve as a bridge back toward real connection. The danger is when it becomes a replacement, when it's easier and more comfortable than the real thing, so you choose it first, second, and third. Other people have found community in microcultures, subreddits, Discord servers, niche fandoms. And here's something interesting happens. Because niche communities do create real connection. They create the shared context and vocabulary that used to come from geography. Two strangers can become genuine friends because they're both obsessed with the same obscure hobby. And that shared obsession creates the kind of shorthand and trust that small talk used to build slowly over months. This is genuinely new. And it's genuinely working for some people, but it's also fragile, platform dependent, can disappear overnight, and it still struggles to cross into physical space, which is where the deepest bonds tend to form. Section 6. What you can actually do. Here's the part I want to be careful with, because this is usually where videos like this become a listicle. 5 tips to make more friends. Put down your phone, join a club. That's not what this is. What I want to offer instead is a reframe. The death of small talk isn't just a social problem. It's a signal. It's telling you that the default structures that used to generate connection for you, without much effort on your part, are gone. And nobody is rebuilding them on your behalf, which means connection, for the first time in human history, has become something you have to architect intentionally. Not perform, not optimize. Architect, that means being the person who suggests the recurring thing, not the one-off hangout the recurring thing. Every other Sunday, first Friday day of the month, the thing that creates the repetition that weak ties need to form. It means tolerating the awkwardness of early-stage connection instead of retreating from it. Not every conversation needs to be profound. Some conversations just need to happen regularly, consistently, without an agenda. And it means auditing the friction you've removed from your life, because some of that friction was just inconvenience, but some of it was relationship, and only you know which is which. Outro. We are living through a quiet restructuring of how human beings relate to each other. It's not dramatic. There's no villain. Nobody decided this would happen. It emerged from 1,000 small optimizations, each one reasonable on its own, that added up to something none of us consciously chose. That's the kind of hidden system that I find endlessly fascinating and a little unsettling, because you can't fight what you can't see. But once you see it, you get to choose differently. If this video made you think about a conversation you've been putting off, or a person you've been meaning to reach out to, maybe let that be the thing that stays with you. And if you're curious about the other hidden systems quietly shaping how we think and feel, the ones nobody's quite connecting the dots on this channel is where we do that. Hit subscribe if that sounds like your kind of thing. No pressure, but I do think you'll find something here worth sticking around for. I'll see you in the next one.